Greetings, Petroheads. Welcome back to Automation, the Car Company Tycoon game. So, first of all, Happy New Year. And after seeing all the reviews for the entries, but not really, seeing who, like, not really knowing who won the competition, I would like to give you a quick overview of all the entries here again. I have picked my personal favorite. I'm not gonna say yet, but it also is gonna depend on who you guys vote for. So I'm gonna give you a quick overview. That's the wrong one. Of all the cars that we got in this competition. There's the AAG Cutlass with the 2.5 liter inline 6, because this is the only one that is actually in the price range that I set, up to $25,000. Has really good marketability, has 179 horsepower, which as an entry-level sports car is surely enough. It has a top speed of 240 kilometers an hour. Does the effort track in what? 127.2. Has 2 seats. Has standard interior and infotainment. Plenty of boot space, I would say. Good economy, and really low running cost actually. Well, not really low, but decently low, reasonably low for a car like this. Look, weak points are, probably a little bit the aesthetics, but also actually nothing else. Nothing else I can really see, apart from maybe the aesthetics and maybe. Was there something else? I don't think there was anything else that I didn't really like about this car. Maybe you can make the 2.5 liter inline 6 produce more, like 190 to 100 horsepower, something like that, and still remain decently economical. But it might not be entirely necessary. Next up is the Gyrotrac. Looks pretty good. Has good drivability. A little bit lacking in sportiness. And also in fuel economy. Like, that is too much for a a 2.5 liter V6 with 250 horsepower. Again, we also showed that this engine has potential for quite a bit more power. Does the effort track in what? .127.0, but it is heavier. It is first year. It is less sporty, and it is more expensive to run. And also, I don't think that you would really have that much space in the back here, so it would not be very practical for everyday using. Next up, but it does have a 2.5 liter high revving V6, so maybe that's something you might be interested in. Next up, the Wendy S-Class. Now this is when you go into a pizzeria and order a pepperoni pizza, and the cook thinks to himself, well, he likes it spicy, huh? So let's throw some habaneros on there instead of actual pepperonis. And when you receive your pizza, you're like, well, that's a little bit too much on the spicy side. That's maybe not really what I really. Maybe that's not quite what I wanted. The performance on this thing is nutty. It does the effort track in 120.8, thanks partly to its 2 liter turbocharged V6, which still has, some room for improvement, but is still good for a light car like this. Also, economy is certainly not suited for an everyday driving car, and as I pointed out, if you're if you only have a certain budget to spend on your sports car, you most certainly also have only a limited budget for running it. And the running costs in this one are quite high, comparatively speaking, and it is probably a little bit too fast for really enjoying it on a day-to-day basis. Not really an entry-level sports car, if you ask me. Then there's the Ravager, which I chose the all-wheel drive version because the V8 is not only a thing that is barely but still over the price limit I said, which is not the reason I didn't take it, but it's $16 above that. But also the V8 is kind of like when the competition has 4-cylinder or at maximum 6 cylinders, a V8 is just a little bit over the top, not really suited for an entry-level sports car. It also makes it a lot more difficult to really stay within the set price limit, which is why I went for the all-wheel drive turbocharged inline-4 version instead. Relatively low drivability, I gotta say, and sportiness isn't all the way up there either, but we have really good acceleration. You got a decent top speed. We get a 124.79 around the average track. What is the running cost? The running costs are somewhere in the middle between the cars that we've seen so far. It is the only car to run on super octane fuel though. It makes 322 horsepower. Has okay fuel economy. And does well. It does okay in some of the areas, but it's really not the most convincing total package because of its low drivability, despite being all-wheel drive and only having a 2-liter turbo engine. But it does perform decently well for an entry-level sports car, and it might be more manageable than the McLaren Wendy S-Class because it is all-wheel drive, and it's not well, it's just going to be easier to handle because of that traction. And last up we have the Caps Bull Shark, which is basically a muscle car with a 6.5-liter V8, and that V8, however, while making 488 horsepower, which is by far the most in this competition, it is very old school, very outdated in technology. It only has a single point electronic fuel injection. It has single overhead cam with 2 valves per cylinder, and it produces so many emissions that actually I think you can't even put that on the market in this day and age. It just makes too many emissions. Like in real life, that would be far too many emissions to even put it on the market. Especially considering the affordability of this thing, 24,800. Yeah, it's slightly above that when we add the markup. That's okay. Not only that, and given the fact that it is reasonably priced, there are going to be a bunch of people who can afford this, and with that, the emissions are far too high. Because if a lot of people buy this one, then in 2 years' time, we in Central Europe are going to have the same climate as in the Sahara, and what are the people in the Sahara going to have then? Also, the economy is just far too high. That's the politest way I can put it. Also, the running costs are just through the roof. And I think while he did do a good job of getting as much power as possible out of a car that costs 25 grand, overall it doesn't really seem to work for an entry-level sports car market. Maybe that's just my opinion though, so you guys are entitled to vote for this car if you think it's the best in the competition. And well, I chose my personal favorite. Go ahead and vote and we'll see who wins. So hope you enjoyed this little episode. Leave a like or a comment if you did. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.